Hare Krishna. Okay. Alright. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Am I
yes.
audible? Am I clear?
Yes, Guru.
All right. Okay. Let's do. Okay. Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Today is 1.5.64 onwards. तदैव चक्रघातेन दैत्यदेहे विनाशिते तदेव ब्रह्म परमं अनुलीनत्वमाययौ. At that moment, this demon's body annihilated by the stroke of Krishna's chakra, he achieved union with the absolute truth. Tadaiva, what is Tadaiva? Okay. स्वयं रूपे कृष्णे तक्षतिर आविर्भावाद अधिकत्वम. Okay. Along with uttering Krishna's name such as Pundrikaksha, Shishupal also directly noticed Krishna's faultlessly beautiful lotus petal eyes and his other uniquely exquisite features. The attractive power of Krishna's names and bodily beauty burnt up Shishupal's hatred, and the accumulated sinfulness that his hatred had caused. At the final moment, as his demonic body was killed by the sharp edge of Krishna's Sudarshan disc, he could realize Krishna as a supreme truth. Endowed then with pure love for Krishna, Shishupal attained the sayujya of entering into his eternal intimate relation with him. So this sayujya is sahayoga, being in an intimate relationship with Krishna or with the Supreme Lord. Here is the evidence that Krishna is the Swayam Rupa, the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. He alone manifests to the fullest extent the power to attract fallen souls back to his loving service. इत्युक्त्वाप्यत्र बक्यादेर मोक्षमप्यर्धलीलया अमोक्षम कालनेन्यादेरन्यत्रापीश चेष्टया मुनिस्मृत्वा पुनः प्राख्यद अयं हि भगवान इति. Reaching this point in his narration, the sage Parashara recalled how Krishna awarded liberation to Putana and others during his early childhood pastime, and how he withheld liberation from persons like Kalanemi when he dispatched them during his pastimes as the powerful Supreme Lord in other forms. Thinking thus, the sage spoke the words beginning, I am he Bhagavan. Certainly, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. स्वयं रूपे कृष्णे मोक्ष जनकम मनोरंजन शक्ते सर्वदा अभिव्यक्तत्वात् विद्वेषेण अपि अत्यावेशात् तस्य मोक्षस् तत्करेण निहतस्य अभूत् इति सूचयित्वा अपि इत्यर्थः. So even though he already pointed out that Swayam Rupa, the original form of Godhead, Krishna, he manifests the power of captivating the conditioned soul to such an extent that they attain liberation, because he manifests his full nature at all points in time, to such an extent that even those who hate him, if they are obsessed with him, then they attain liberation when they are killed by his hands. So even though he indicated this, he still points out अथ अन्वयव्यतिरेकाभ्यां कृष्णस्यैव असुरेभ्यो मोक्षदातृत्वम् अनुभूय डायरेक्टली एंड स्वयं भगवान कृष्ण, स्वयं रूप कृष्ण, he grant liberation to asuras. तस्यैव स्वयं रूपम् अभ्यर्थात्. Because of this, he is the original form, Krishna. Whereas in other forms, in the form of Krishna, he grants liberation to Baki. Baki is Putana. Whereas in other forms, such as the form of Ajita and so on, he does not grant liberation. Sorry, what did I do? To answer Maitreya's inquiry, Parashara cited evidence to show that Krishna alone exhibits a potency of attraction that results in liberation for an enemy who meets death at his hands. This evidence included the negative examples of Hiranyakashipu and Ravana and the positive example of Shishupala. Parashara concludes that Krishna is a Swayam Rupa, the original Godhead. Krishna liberated many demons even in his infancy. Actually, there should be capital H here. Beginning with Bakasur's sister Putana, but his other incarnations did not liberate the demons they killed. As for example, when Lord Ajita killed Kalaneni. Hi prasiddham mayam Krishna Bhagavan swayamevatat prinatam vishatam chakas chetam chakarshati dhrutam tasmat kirtita ityadi mahatyam chitramatrana. In this phrase, he means certainly. Krishna is certainly the original personality of Godhead because he powerfully attracts the minds, not only of those who love him, but even of those who hate him. Therefore, it is not surprising that Parashara spoke the phrase beginning Kirtitaha as evidence to show Krishna's supremacy. Sage Parashara concludes that Krishna is Swayam Bhagavan, the source of all other forms of God, because not only those who love him, but even those who hate him are helplessly attracted by his charm. Iti Vidyaya Gadyana Hardam Sauhardata Sputam Tasmat Sa Eva Kaimutyad Bhajaniyat Tayeshyate. The intrinsic meaning of these statements can be understood clearly when there is affection. Thus, the words, what to speak of them, indicate that Krishna merits our adoration. Here, Krishna vidveshena api swa avishtebhya mokshamapi dadati. Sa bhakti anuraktebhyah tam dadati. Iti kim uta vaktavyam. So if Krishna can give liberation to those who are obsessed with him, even when they are filled with hatred towards him, then that is the question of him not granting liberation to those who are filled with devotional attachment to him. Kintu swaparyantam sarvam tad adhinam karoti iti bhava is implying that he gives himself, makes himself subordinate to his pure devotees. Parashara's final words in text 49 that Kim uta samyak bhakti mata. What to speak then of his reciprocation with those who have true devotion for him? If Krishna bestows liberation on enemies whose minds are fixed on him, how can there be any doubt that he will liberate those who are attached to him in pure devotion? More than that, he places under his devotees' control whatever they want, even himself. तत्र तु अखिलानामेव भगवन्नाम्नां कारणान्यभवन् इत्यनेन लक्ष्मीशे नाम्नां प्रवृत्तिर्यानि निमित्तानि तानि च कृष्णे अपि अभवन् इति याचष्टे. all the names are actually names of Lord Krishna. That will become clear. Atha akhilanam namnam cha pravrittau karanam shunu. Now here how Shishupal could use all of the Supreme Lord's names to refer to Krishna. Lakshmi Shanamanyevatra pravrittir hetu samyatah tathaiva hetu bhedacha vartante yadupungave. The names of the Lord of Lakshmi apply also to the hero Yadu, sometimes for the same reasons and sometimes for different reasons. Okay, now we'll come a very interesting section. Nivatta Bhedat Krishna Yani Pravrittani Tanyaha Vasudevasya Ityadi. Okay, before that, let me read out this. Devotees of the Lord of Vaikuntha call him by many names that describe his supremacy, and devotees of Krishna use these same names when referring to their Lord. Some of these names of Narayana have the same meanings when applied to Krishna, and some have different meanings, but the names are the same. Where is okay. Nimitta Samyat Nimitta Bhedacha Pravritil Vidha Tatra Nimitta Samyat Pravrittani Namanyaha Daityarir Ityadini. For the same reasons and for different reasons. The same names are used to refer to Swayam Bhagavan Krishna. The same names used to refer to Lord Narayana, the husband of Lakshmi, are used to refer to the original personality of Godhead Krishna. Having made that point, he first enlists some names which refer to Swayam Rupa Krishna for the same reasons that they refer to Lord Narayana. Daityarih Pundarikaksha Shargi Garudavahana Pitambaras Chakrapani Srivatsankas Chaturbhujaha Ityadini Namani Pravritte Hetusamyataha. Names like Daityari, demon killer, Pundarikaksha, lotus-eyed one, Shargi, wielder of Sharanga, Garudavahana, he whose carrier is Garuda, Pitambara, he whose garment is yellow, Chakrapani, he whose hand holds a disc, Srivatsanka, he who is marked with Srivatsa, and Chaturbhuja, four-armed one, applied to Krishna. For the same reasons they apply to Narayana. Then he begins to enlist some names. Nimitta Bheda Krishna Yani Pravrittani Tanyaha. And then he refers to some names that are used to refer to Lord Narayana, but they are also used to refer to Krishna, but for a different set of reasons. Vasudevasya putratvad Vasudevo nigadyate Madhu vamshe yato jata kathyate madhavastataha. On the other hand, Krishna is called Vasudeva because he is the son of Vasudeva, and he is called Madhava because he is born in the dynasty of Madhu. This verse begins an explanation of some of the different meanings Narayana's names have when they refer to Krishna. Shri Harivamshepi Satchatenaiva Namnatra Krishno Vai Damabandhanat Goshthe Damodara Iti Gopi Pariyate. Shri Harivamsha says, because Krishna was bound with ropes, the gopis call him Damodara when they sing about him in their cowherd village. Damodara Namnaha Krishna Pravritto Nimittamaha Sacha Teniti. This gives the reason why the name Damodara refers to Krishna. Tathacha Yashodaya Damna Nivadhodaratvam Damodaratvam iti. He was bound by Yashoda around his waist. The gopis call Krishna Damodara because Mother Yashoda punished him by binding him with ropes. Lord Narayana is also known as Damodara, but for a different reason. He does not enjoy the same pastime. Atraiva Adhonena Shayanena Shakatantaracharina Rakshasi Nihata Raudri Shakuni Veshadharini पूतना नाम सा घोरा महाकाया महाबला विषदिग्धम स्तनम क्षुद्रा प्रयच्छन्ति जनार्दने. Sri Harivamsha also says, while lying down and moving about beneath a cart, he killed a fearsome cannibalistic witch who was in disguise. That huge, frightening, powerful Putana had wickedly offered her poison-smeared breast to Lord Janardana. Dadrishur nihatam tatra rakshasim vanagochara punarjato yamityahu uktas tasmad adhokshajaha iti. Seeing the slain Rakshasi there, the forest folks said, this boy has been born again. Because of this incident, he is called Adhokshaja. Eshodha Shakatasyakshe Punarjata Ivetyata Adhokshaja iti praho iti tika krito ditam. Because he was, so to speak, reborn under the axle of a cart, the cowherd called him Adhokshaja. This explanation comes from the commentator. Adhokshaja namna Krishna Prabhupada Nimitama. Okay, this is all. Okay. Putana disguised herself as a beautiful gopi, so she could approach Krishna and offer to nurse him. When she arrived, Yashoda and other simple cowherd women did not stop her. At that time, baby Krishna was lying in a crib under the axle, aksha of a cart, because he seemed reborn, Punarjata, after the attack of this poison-bearing witch. The village woman gave him the name Adhokshaja. Adhokshaja, of course, is one of Krishna's eternal names, and for other reasons, one of Lord Narayana's names as well. Here, there's a reference to, it comes from the commentator, Tikakar, Tikakrit, and so on. Generally, the Tikakar refers to Srila Sridhar Swami. But it does appear that Harivamsha had its own commentary, not written by Sridhar Swami. I remember having seen it. I would need to counter check if Sri Rupa Goswami is getting this explanation from that commentary or not. Tatraiva aham kilendro devanam tvam gavam indratam gataha govinda iti lokas tvam dasyanti bhuvi shashvatam. Also from Sri Harivamsha. I am Indra of the demigods, and now you have become the Indra of the cows. Therefore, throughout the world, you will always be glorified by the name Govinda. Govinda namna sadaha aham kileti. Okay, one by one he's going to give me. So, all right, fine. So, Indra rules the demigods who control the forces of nature in this universe, but the name Indra, the chief, better suits Krishna, who rules the Kamadhenas, the mystical cows of Goloka, who supply Krishna's devotees whatever they desire. Therefore, Krishna has the name Govinda. Tatreva, mamopari yathendrastvam, sthapito Govindishwaraha, upendra iti Krishna, tvam gasyanti dividevataha. And also, since these cows have ordained you as a supreme lord, as the Indra above even me, O Krishna, the demigods in heaven will glorify you by the name Upendra. Lord Narayana is commonly known as Upendra because in his Vamana incarnation, he is Indra's younger brother. Krishna is also known as Upendra because he proved himself to be superior to Indra, the one who made Indra inferior. When he lifted Giriraj Govardhan to thwart Indra's attempt to flood Vrajadham. Sri Vishnu Purane, Yasmat Tvayaiva Dushtatma, Hatah Keshi Janardana, Tasmat Keshava Namnatvam, Loke Geyo Bhavishyasi. Iti. This is excellent evidence, one after another after another. all guided by the supreme evidence of Srimad Bhagavatam. Sri Vishnu Purana says, O Janardana, because you have killed the evil-hearted Keshi, everyone will know you by the name Keshava. These are all names that have a different meaning when they refer to Narayana. When it refers to Narayana, there's another meaning. Keshava is split into Ka. Yeah, it is derived from the one who is the master of Ka and Isha. Ka refers to Brahma, Isha refers to Lord Shiva. So you see, you have a different meaning, totally a different meaning when applied to Lord Narayana, and then you have a different meaning when it applies to Krishna. That also is coming from a scripture. Is that coming from Harivamsha also? I don't remember, but I've seen a scriptural quote from, I think, our own Acharyas on Keshava. Narada Muni spoke this verse. Ityadin yatranamani pravrittir hetu bhedatah esham pravrittir hetutvam anyadeva ramapato. Names such as these apply to Krishna for various reasons. And they also apply to the Lord of Rama. But for other reasons, Rama is Lakshmi. Sarva Sukhrid Nivasitvam Vasudevatvam. When applied to Lord Narayana, the husband of Lakshmi in Vaikuntha, Vasudeva refers to the one who resides in the heart of everyone. Lakshmi Patitvam Madhavatvam. He's called Madhava because he's the husband of Ma, the mother. Mother means mother with a capital M, mother, which is Lakshmi, the husband of Lakshmi. Kamcha Isho Abhitamadhyatvam Damodaratvam Adha Krita Indriyaka Sukhatvam Atokshajatvam. Damodaratvam. Damodara means the one who is between, wait a minute. How does that? Because his waist is adorned with a handsome belt. It's the name of Narayana. Lord Narayana of Vaikuntha is called Vasudeva because he resides in the hearts of all living beings. He's called Madhava because he's the husband of the goddess of fortune. He's called Damodara because his waist is adorned with a handsome belt. He takes the name Adhokshaja because he makes material pleasures seem very insignificant. Yes. Adha Krita Aindriyaka Sukhatvam. Lord Narayana, to be in touch with Lord Narayana is so great that one experiences the insignificance of sensual happiness. Veda Vedyatvam Govindatvam. Govinda, the one who can be reached through Go. Go in this context means the Veda. Vedeshya Sarvair Hameva Vedya. Like that. Indra Kanishtatvam Upendratvam. Narayana is considered to be the younger brother of Indra, therefore it's called Upendra. Keshav Brahmarudro Vayate Bhajnati iti Keshavatvam Cheti. Controls Brahma and Rudra, therefore it's called Keshava. He takes, okay, and he is known as Keshava because he keeps Ka Brahma and Isha Shiva under his control, Vayate. He is Govinda because the demigods are able to know him with their senses, and he is Upendra because he is Indra's younger brother. Hatari Gatidayakatvam Shri Krishna Swayam Rupatva Gamakam. Vaishnavad Apaditam Krishnannaha Kimcheti. Lord Shri Krishna giving liberation to his enemies indicates that he is the Swayam Rupa. That has been proven from Vishnu Purana. Now he reinforces it. Kimcha. Kimcha Suranam Vishatam Krishnam Aprapya Nanyataha Kutopi Muktiritya Cha Evakara Dvayena Saha. Moreover, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna uses the word eva certainly twice to emphasize that the envious demons fail to attain him and have no other means for liberation. Tatha hi Sri Gita Su Tanaham Vishatah Krura Samsareshu Naradhaman Shipam Yajastram Ashubhan Asurishyeva Yonishu. Thus in Sri Bhagavad Gita, those who are envious and mischievous, who are the lowest among men, I perpetually cast into the ocean of material existence, into various demoniac species of life. This is certain. Asurim yonimapanna, mudha janmani janmani, mam aprapyaiva kaunteya, tato yantya dhamam gatim. So you find the word eva in the previous words here, eva. Eva, certainly. You find the word eva, eva, aprapya eva, certain. Attaining repeated birth among the species of demoniac life, O son of Kunti, such persons can certainly never approach me. Gradually they sink down to the most abominable type of existence. Mam aprapya tat vakyam yakhyati. Mam aprapya. Without attaining, they do not achieve liberation. Mam Krishna Rupinam Yavan Napnuvanti Mamad Visha Tavad Deva Samam Yonim Prapnuvanti Tihi Sputam. As long as those who are envious of me do not attain my form of Krishna, they must certainly accept only the lowest births. We have seen the evidence from Sri Vishnu Purana that Krishna is the original form of God because he alone gives spiritual perfection to the demons he kills. Krishna himself corroborates this in the Bhagavad Gita. Envious demons cannot be saved from birth and death without his help. Not even his avatars such as Sri Nrsimha will deliver them. So, Narayana or Nrsimha or Ramachandra, none of them, by killing them, will give them liberation. In text 82, Krishna's words, Mam aprapya, without achieving me, can be understood to mean without achieving death at my hands. It doesn't stop with just this much. In Jiva Goswami's Sandarbha, he proves that we know that Lord Brahma learned the Chatushloki Bhagavatam from the Supreme Lord himself. So Srila Jiva Goswami proves that he actually had seen Dwaraka in the spiritual world. What appears as a description of Vaikuntha in the second canto of Bhagavatam is actually Dwaraka in the spiritual world. And the Lord who spoke to him was Krishna in Dwaraka. Gives convincing evidence. Very interesting. Without the help of these acharyas, you won't actually be able to understand the intended meaning of Bhagavatam. Tasmat trayanam evayam shreshta ityatra vismaya ko vasyan nat tatha yasmat svabhavo nyatra drishyate. Therefore, of these three paravastha forms, Krishna is certainly the greatest. Why should this be astonishing? Indeed, his essential nature is not seen in anyone else. Nigamayati concludes. Tasmaditi Trayanam Nrsimhadinam Adhyayam Krishna Eva Shreshtaha Abhivyaktan Nikhila Shaktitvena Variyan. He is the best amongst these forms, which means He is the best because he reveals all of his potencies at all points in time. Ityatra vismaya ko vasya. What astonishment can there be in this regard? Na kopi, nothing. Tasmat tatha svabhavah. Tata rignati datruttvadi lakshanah. Tataha anyatra nsimhado na drishyate. Because it is essential nature of granting liberation to the even his enemies, whom he kills, and so on. This is his essential nature, and that is not seen in forms such as Nrsimha. Of the three Paravasta avatars of God, Nrsimha, Ramachandra, and Krishna, Krishna exhibits the energies of the Supreme most completely. Only he has the compassion and attractive power to give spiritual perfection to his enemies. Lord Nrsimha and Lord Ramachandra are, like Krishna, personalities of Godhead, but they do not exhibit his unique Shakti. Srila Rupa Goswami was not the first to point out that among all the forms of God, only Krishna awards liberation to demons. Rupa's older brother Sanatana Goswami presented the same conclusion in Sri Brihad Bhagavatamrita. That Krishna is the supreme form of God, it is also confirmed elsewhere in Brihad Bhagavatamrita and in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Ato manvakshara kalpe swayam bhuvagame pujyante sya vrittitvena rama simhananadayah. Thus, when prescribing the chanting of Krishna's 14-syllable mantra, the Swayambhuva Agama recommends worshipping other forms of the Lord, including Rama and Nrsimha as members of his entourage. अत इति कृष्णस्य स्वयं रूपत्वादेव हेतो मन्वक्षरमनो चतुर्दशाक्षरम् प्रकटम्. The word Manu refers to the 14 progenitors of the human race. Can also be number 14. Manu also means mantra. Thus, Manvakshara Manu refers to 14 syllable mantra. Because Krishna is the original Godhead, one can meditate on the other forms of God as his expansions. Many scriptures give evidence of this, including the Pancharatra Agamas. In the Swayambhuva Agama, the meditation for worshipping Krishna with his 14-syllable mantra is specified. Chatvaro Vasudevadya Pujyante Sahashaktika Purvadidikshu Kramasho Vidikshu Parameshvara Sri Rama Simhavadana Kurmopendra Mahadbhuta. In the four primary directions, one should worship the four lords along with their energies, with their consorts. The worship should start with the east, with Vasudeva. In the secondary directions, northeast, northwest, southeast, southwest, these are secondary directions. One should worship the extremely amazing supreme controllers, Sri Rama, Nrsimha, Kurma, and Upendra. ननु एकोपि सन् बहुधा यो विभाति इति एकस्य कृष्णस्य बहुत्वात् तस्य सम्पूर्णत्वं सर्वत्र साम्प्रतम् क्वचित् पूर्णत्वं तु न शक्यं वक्तुं शोध अक्षमत्वात् इति प्रत्यवतिष्ठते. इति कश्चित् प्रत्यवतिष्ठते ननु इत्यादिना. Then he presents an objection. According to the scripture, ekopi san bahudha yo vibhati. There's only one Krishna who expands himself into many forms. So, at all points in time, in all of these forms, he is complete. It is not possible to say that any of these forms are incomplete. That cannot stand intellectual scrutiny. In this way, Purva Paksha or an objection is raised. Let us see how Sri Rupa Goswami refutes that. Nanvidam Shruyate Shastre Mahavaraha Vakyatah. But someone may counter with what they've heard from scriptures, such as the words of the Mahavaraha Purana. So this objection even today you'll come across from the Tattvavadi line, the southern branch of the Madhva Sampradaya. We are the northern branch of the Madhva Sampradaya. We are Madhva Gaudiyas. We are not Madhva Dakshinatyas, as I would say. Mahavarahe Sarve Nitya Shashvatascha Dehastasya Paratmanaha Thanopadana Rahita Naiva Prakriti Jah Pachit Paramananda Sandoha Jnanamatrasya Sarvatah Sarve Sarva Gunai Purna Sarvat Dosha Vivarjita iti. The Mahavaraha Purana says all the bodily forms of the Supreme Soul are eternal and unchanging. They never increase or decrease or take birth from material nature. All of them are full of supreme bliss, fully aware of everything, complete in all transcendental qualities, and devoid of any faults. The Gopala Tapani Upanishad tells us that the Supreme Lord Krishna chooses to expand himself into many forms. Ekopi san bahuda yo vibhati. Although one, he appears as many. The Vedas also establish that in all conditions, the Supreme Lord is always complete and perfect. He never becomes incomplete, nor does he splinter into fragments like a stone. The Mahavaraha Purana is here cited as evidence that in all his expanded forms, the Supreme is complete. All the incarnations of God are eternal, but they periodically appear and disappear in the material realm. They are called his bodies, even though in essence they are non-different from him. It is an accepted practice in the philosophical use of Sanskrit to employ the possessive case, even when there is no real distinction between the possessor and possessed. For example, one may say Chaitanya Atmanaha Swarupam, pure consciousness is the nature of the self. Pure consciousness is identical to the self. That's because all the expanded forms of God are identical with the original. None of them ever undergo increase or loss. Swarupa Abhedadeva Hanad Rahitaha. Because there is no distinction between the various personalities of Godhead. Therefore, there is no increase or decrease. Okay. Kimcha Shri Narada Pancharatri. Another quote. Manir Yutaha Rupa Bhedamava Jnana Veda Tatha Chutaha. Moreover, Shri Narada Pancharatra says, as a jewel appears blue, yellow, or some other color when viewed from different sides, so Lord Achyuta takes on different forms according to how one meditates on him. Tasmat katham taratamyam tesham vyakhyayate tvaya. Therefore, someone may ask, why do you say the forms of the Lord have gradations? The Vaidurya jewel can display many different colors, but these visible changes do not diminish the gem's substance. Similarly, the source of all existence can display countless expanded forms without any decrease. All of God's expanded forms are complete, says our objector. And therefore, how can there be a hierarchy among Nrsimha, Rama, Krishna, and other forms of the Supreme? So, till date, the Tattvavadis present this objection. They say all of these forms are complete. All of these forms are perfect. On what basis you are saying this form is greater, that form is greater? That's an offense. It is a very great offense. I will later explain under what circumstances it is an offense and under what circumstances it is not an offense. With a particular explanation, it will become an offense. With another explanation, it is not an offense. So we'll see how Sri Rupa Goswami explains it very expertly. Samadhati atrochate ityadina. Now he reconciles the scriptural evidence from Mahavaraha Purana. Atrochate pareshatma purna yadyapite khila तथाप्यखिल शक्तीनां प्राकट्यम तत्र न भवेत्. Our response to this question is that although all these forms are complete because of their being the Supreme Lord, they do not completely exhibit his potencies. They should be capital T. Yes, all of these forms are complete. They possess all of these qualities and capacities, but they do not exhibit them. They possess, but they don't exhibit. Tekhila iti vilasa swamshasya swayam rupa vat purna. The vilasas, the swamshas, like the swayam rupa, they are all perfect. Edaduktam bhavati. This is the point that is to be made. Yatha sarve nitya ityadi purnatva vakyam. Tathaiva ete chamsha kalapumsa ityadyamshamshitva vakyam cha asti. Just as that is the statement in the Mahavaraha Purana that all these forms of the Supreme Lord are eternal, without increase or decrease, and none of them are imperfect, none of them possess a lesser number of qualities, and so on. There is also this other statement in Shastra, Ete Chamsha Kalapumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Purvam Swarupa Sat Sarva Gunakatva Sangamitam. The first evidence talks about the Swarupa, or the essential nature of the Lord in all these forms, and that all of them possess all of these qualities. Parantu abhivyakta anabhivyaktam sarvagunakatvat tatha. But the second piece of evidence, Ete Chamsha Kalapumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam, that reveals that in a particular form he manifests all of these qualities. In other forms he does not manifest all of these qualities. So all of these forms possess all of these qualities. But we are talking in terms of manifesting and non-manifesting. When he doesn't manifest in a particular form, we talk as if he doesn't possess, but in reality he possesses all of these forms, all of these qualities, all of the qualities, 64 qualities and 64 qualities. But he never manifests all these 64 qualities. Because he manifests all these 64 qualities only in the form of Krishna, then we refer to him as Swayam Bhagavan and the others as Bhagavan. Govinda Bhashya also, Sri Baladev Vidyabhushan deals with this. There he gives an example. He says, just like a person may have studied a lot and he may be teaching all that he has studied. Another person might have studied the same amount, but he might be just teaching some beginning students. So one student got the beginning, but in reality he both know the same thing. Or a much more common example that I give is, when you look at a half moon. A half moon is not actually half of a moon. It is actually the full moon. It is actually the full moon. It is not half of a moon, but only half of it is visible. So like that. So in that way, there is no loss in this explanation. Anyatha param vyakupyat. If you were to say all of these forms are identical in every possible manner, then you would contradict the second statement, Ete Chamsha Kalapumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. The expanded forms of God, both Vilasa and Swamsha, are all as complete as the Swayam Rupa. These expansions, however, do not exhibit all his potencies completely. The scriptural statements describing all these forms of God as eternal and perfect are augmented by other statements attesting to the difference between Amshi and Amshas. For example, Ete Chamsha Kalapumsaha. These incarnations are plenary and partial expansions, Amshas and Kalas of the Purusha. The objector's argument establishes that each form of God possesses all the perfections of his essential identity. The counter argument establishes that some of his forms reveal more of these perfections than others. These arguments do not contradict one another, but overemphasis on the first obscures the truth of the second. Amshatvam nama shaktinam सदाल्पांश prakashita, purnatvam cha swechhayaiva nana shakti prakashita. An expanded form of the Lord is called an amsha, when it always exhibits only a small part of his potencies. By contrast, a form is called purna, complete, when by his sweet will it exhibits the full range of his potencies. Further, अंश शब्देन तदेकात्म रूपग्राह्य श्री कृष्ण नारायणादि भावधर तत्तत् प्रकरण पठितान एव गुणान आविष्कुर्यात् न तु स्वनिष्ठान सर्वान. Okay, that comes here. Someone might again object, if the Supreme's Vilasa and Swamsha expansions possess all the qualities of the Swayam Rupa, then at some time or other, all of these qualities will be manifest. This will cancel out the difference between Amshi and Amshas. To counter this argument, this verse clarifies the definition of the term Amsha. The implication is that the Amshas of the Swayam Rupa Krishna are his Tadekatma expansions, both Vilasa and Swamshas. When Sri Krishna assumes the identities and moods of Narayana and other expansions, he exhibits not all of his qualities, but only appropriate ones, which the scriptures have described. This fact upholds the conclusion of differentiation between Amshi and Amshas. Sri Nrsimha and the Lord's other expansions do not display Krishna's qualities of enchanting his enemies and granting liberation to those he kills. To propose that all of the Supreme self-same expansions exhibit every one of his powers, one must disregard scriptural authority. If Lord Narayana exhibited all of Krishna's qualities, Srimad Bhagavatam would not describe how Narayana's consorts long for the dust of Krishna's feet. Okay, that's all coming from the genius of Sri Baladev Vidyabhushana Prabhu. सर्वेषु सर्व शक्याविर्भावे स्वीकृते तु शास्त्रावधारित सिद्धांतो व्याख्ये नारायणे निखिल कृष्ण गुणाविर्भावे स्वीकृते तत्पत्न्याः कृष्णांघ्रिर्रजो वाञ्छा भागवतोक्ता रघुपतौ तस्मिन् स्वीकृते दृष्ट रघुपतीनां मुनीनां कृष्णस्पृहा पाद्मोक्ता त्रिषु पुरुषेषु तस्मिन् स्वीकृते तेषां कृष्णांशता च ब्रह्म संहितोक्ता न घटेत. If Raghupati Ram manifested the same qualities as Krishna, the Padma Purana would not inform us about the sages who, despite seeing Lord Ramachandra in person, prayed for Krishna's association. If the three Purushas showed the same qualities as Krishna, the Brahma Samhita would not depict them as Krishna's Amshas. This Amshamshi Bhava, or this the reality of certain forms of Krishna, certain Vishnu Tattva forms, being his plenary portions, and certain other forms exhibiting more features and so on. That also helps us understand why some forms of the Supreme Lord are devotees of some other forms of the Supreme Lord. Okay, all of that comes here. Various scriptures describe how Lord Sankarshana honors Lord Vasudeva as a source of his existence and the object of reverence. We also learn from the scriptures that Lord Ramachandra's brothers and served him with humble devotion. These descriptions would be senseless if there were no hierarchy among the expansions of the Lord in some way. In some way, there has to be some kind of gradation, some kind of hierarchy. But of course, not by saying that certain forms possess more qualities, certain forms possess less qualities. Rather, we are talking of certain forms exhibiting more qualities, certain forms not exhibiting more qualities. They are there, but they are not manifested, they are not revealed. The Amshas are always subordinate to the Amshi. Thus, Lord Balaram, even though Krishna's elder brother, thinks himself as Krishna's servant and speaks accordingly. Kimetad adbhutam vasudeve khilatman brajasya satmanastu keshvapurvam prema vardhatte keyam va kuta ayata daivi va naryutta suhi prayo mayastu me bhartur nanya mepi vimohini. What is this wonderful phenomenon? The affection of all the inhabitants of Vraja, including me, toward these boys and calves is increasing as never before, just like our affection for Lord Krishna, the super soul of all living entities. Who is this mystic power? Where has she come from? Is she a demigod, demigoddess, or a demoness? Who can bewilder me other than the illusory energy of my master, Lord Krishna? Complete exhibition of all perfections is the essential characteristic of the Amshi. Amshi means the whole. Amsha means a part. Who by sweet will unfolds the unlimited aspects of his personality. Krishna also partially expands his personality into the Amshas, but none of them expands into him. He is not an emanation of anyone else. तथा च अंशिना अंशो व्यंग्यः न तो अंशेन अंशी इति यथा योगं भवति. As it is Viduran was put it up. कृष्णस्य सर्वांशत्वात् तद्व्यंग्याः सर्वे स तु न अन्य व्यंग्यः. Good. Shaktirashwarya madhurya kripa tejo mukha guna. The Lord's potency consists of his qualities led by sovereignty, Aishwarya, sweetness, madhurya, mercy, kripa, strength, tejas. Aishwarya means lordship over all others. Madhurya means attractiveness in all conditions. Kripa means causeless desire to relieve others' distress. And tejas means the strength to prevail over time, illusion, and all other natural forces. The word mukhaha, led by, implies that the personality of Godhead has many other transcendental qualities, including omniscience and concern for and submission to his devotees. Each of other Shakti Shabda Abhimatam Spotayati Shaktiriti. These definitions are directly taken from Sri Baladeva Devi. Shaktir Vyaktis Tatha Vyaktis Taratamyasya Karanam. The manifestation or non-manifestation of this potency is the basis of gradation. This is a very important statement. Shaktir Vyaktis Tatha Vyaktis Taratamyasya Karanam. The basis of gradation is the manifestation and non-manifestation of his potencies. This verse describes the essence of the difference between the Amshi and the Amshas, between the whole and the part. शक्ति समापि पूर्यादि दाहे दीपाग्नि कुंजयो शीताद्यार्थ क्षयेनाग्नि कुंजादेव सुखम भवेत्. This is a very interesting point that Sri Rupa Goswami Prabhu makes. Purnat Sukhati Purnat Sukhati Shayah Labhyate न तो अंशात् तद रूपादपीति दृष्टांतेन शक्तिरिति. When we take advantage of something that's complete, then we attain an abundance of happiness. But from a portion of that, even if it is a form of that, we don't attain that abundance of happiness. He explains this with an example. A lamp's small flame and a large fire are equally able to result in an entire city burning down. Still, we gain satisfaction only from a sizable fire that can dispel our cold and other discomfort. Okay. एवमेव गुणादीनाम आविष्कारानुसारतः भवद्भंसेन सौख्यं स्यात् भक्तादीनाम यथा यथम. In a similar way, according to how extensively the Lord reveals his qualities and powers, devotees and others are freed from material entanglement and become happy. One can attain the highest happiness only from the complete manifestation of truth, not from partial manifestations, although they may be as plenary expansions. We can understand this by comparing the power of a small lamp's flame with that of a large fire. Both the flame and the large fire can set a city ablaze, but only the large fire can provide enough heat to warm a person suffering from cold. Similarly, although Amshas such as Nrsimha are equally as powerful as the Amshi Krishna, when it comes to annihilating their demonic antagonists and eradicating their devotees' ignorance, only Krishna, the large fire, always manifests the unique powers of liberating those he kills and filling his devotees with bliss. And we are talking of unlimited, ever expanding bliss. Lord Nrsimha and other Amshas give the materialistic demons they kill great opportunities for material enjoyment, but they do not deliver them from material existence. As fully as the Supreme Lord reveals his personal potencies in any incarnation, to that extent his devotees and the mystic yogis derive pleasure from hearing about his exploits. Nrsimha-tītastu suradurlabha bhoga praptireva daityadina natu bhavadvamsa iti. Nrsimha and other forms, they grant to the Daityas and others killed by them material enjoyment that is rare even for the demigods, but they don't give annihilation of material existence, which means freedom from material existence. Kimcha ekatvam cha pratakvam cha tathamshatvam utamshita tasmin nekatra nayuktam achintyananta shaktitaha. Moreover, it is not unreasonable that the Supreme can be both the one source of expansions and the many expansions as well. His inconceivable energies make this possible. Anu Krishna ruchi nirbharat swayam rupatam pratipadayasi simhadautu tadabhavat swamshatam tu kathamiti chet. Why can't it be that because you have an abundance of taste for Krishna, you are establishing that Krishna is the original form, and you don't have that kind of taste for Nrsimha and so on. Therefore, you are saying that they are plenary portions. Why can't it be like this? Someone may suggest the reason you claim that Krishna is the original Godhead is because you are especially attracted. Why do you say that Nrsimha and other avatars are only Amshas? Is it not just because you are less attracted to them? It would be fair to propose this only if Rupa Goswami was contending that Krishna's essential identity is different from that those of his Vilasa and Swamsha incarnations. In truth, however, as explained in this book, the one personality of Godhead can appear in various forms by his Achintya Shakti. There is no opportunity for criticizing. तत्रैकत्वेपि पृथक् प्रकाशिता यथा श्री दशम्ने चित्रं बतैतदेकेन वपुषा युगपत् पृथक् गृहेषु द्व्यष्टसहस्रं स्त्रिय एक उदावहदति. Thus, despite his oneness, he appears as many, as stated in the 10th canto. It is quite amazing that with a single body, Lord Krishna has simultaneously married 16,000 women, each in a separate palace. पृथक्त्वेप्येक रूपतापत्ति यथा पाद्मे सदैव बहुधा भूत्वा निर्गुणः पुरुषोत्तम एकीभूय पुनश्चेते निर्दोषो हरिराधिकृत्यति. And although he appears as many, he still remains one, as the Padma Purana states. Even as Lord Hari, the transcendental supreme personality of Godhead, becomes many, that faultless original creator still remains one. That 10th canto statement is Shukadeva Goswami's statement. Simultaneously, Krishna in various forms married 16,000 princesses. So this proves that while being one, he can be many. That even though he is many, he is still one. This proves that even though this only happens because of his inconceivable potency. एकस्यैवांशांशित्वं विरुद्धशक्तित्वं च यथा श्री दशमी यजन्ति त्वन्मया स्वां वै बहुमूर्त्येकमूर्तिकमिति. Akrura. The 10th canto describes the one supreme, the one Lord as both expansion and source of expansions, and as the possessor of contradictory potencies, absorbing their minds and thought of you. They worship you as the one supreme Lord manifesting in multiple forms. Yajanti akruroktihi ekaseva amshamshitve udaharanam. This is a good example of he being both the amsha and the amshi. He is both a plenary portion and the complete whole. Ekamurtikam iti amshitvam. Bahumurti iti amshatvam. Tava ekasyaiva siddhyati. So he is one and he is many. One in the sense that he is a complete whole. Many in the sense of several plenary portions. The one original supreme or amshi expands himself into innumerable amshyas. 97. One more is there. Paurmecha. Astulaschananuschaiva. Sthulonuschaiva sarvatah. Avarnas sarvatah praktah. Shyamo rakanta lochanah. Aishwarya yogad bhagavan. Viruddhartho vidhiyate. And in the Kurma Purana it is said, the Supreme Lord is neither large nor small. Yet he is both large and small. He is said to be always colorless, yet he is dark blue with a tinge of red at the corners of his eyes. Exercising his various potencies, he becomes known in contradictory ways. The next section will be very nice. And all of these sections are very Viruddha Shaktitvam Udaharati. That he possesses contradictory potencies is clear from these verses. Astulam Cheti Sarhadvabhyam in 2.5 verses. Bhagavataha Parabrahmanaha Vijnanananda Vastutva Shravana Stulatvanutvabhyam Jaradharmabhyam Sa Bhagavan Virahitaha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead Bhagavan is the Supreme Brahman, Parabrahman. And because we know from the scriptures that he is he's a Sachidananda entity. Therefore, he is simultaneously freed from the two material characteristics of being large and small. Tathapitabhyam Sarupanishthabhyam Vishishtaha Sobhidiyate. But he has his own intrinsics, spiritual forms which exhibit these features. Sahasram, Shir, Shatva, Trivikramatva, Vasthayam, Stulatvasya, Jivantaryam, Nita, Dashayam, Aniyastvasya, Shravana. Because we learn from the scriptures that in the form of the 1,000-headed one, in the form of Trivikrama, in those conditions, he is the largest. And as the inner controller, the super soul of the living entities, he is the smallest. Tadvastutva shravanadeva varnena shyamatvadina virahita itya avarna prakta. And we learn from the scriptures which describe about him that he does not have colors such as black and so on. But we also learn from the scriptures that he possesses certain colors, spiritual colors. Meghavam, Vajudambaram, he has the color of a cloud. His cloth glitters like the lightning. Sama Vrishabho Lohitakshaha Iti Shamana. So like this, contradictory features. We will see the explanation a little later. Okay.